way it is, and that our senses are playing tricks on us. You just gotta wonder, what is this reality that...
Hare Krishna everyone, welcome all of you. So today we are going to have a recap of the 7th chapter. Before we start, we'll start with prayers, then I'll play this video which explains a very interesting subject matter. So we'll first chant prayers. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna, welcome everyone. So in the 7th chapter, Krishna started explaining to Arjuna that the 7th chapter, the knowledge is absolute truth. And what I am going to explain is itself complete. After knowing this knowledge, nothing further shall remain to be known. And then Krishna also said that to come to this understanding, to understand the absolute truth, one among thousands, they are interested. To those who are really willing to understand what is absolute truth, one among thousands, manushyanam sahasresu. So it is very rare to come to the point of understanding that who is absolute truth, what is the dynamics of absolute truth, and all those things. That means anybody who comes to the understanding Bhagavad Gita, he is very rare. And then Krishna started explaining about his inferior nature, that is 8 material elements. And then Krishna said, this is my separated energy. This is Krishna's energy. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, this is all Krishna's energy. Krishna said already this in Bhagavad Gita 5,000 years before, and few decades before, fluid mechanics, quantum physicists, they discovered that actually everything is energy, not matter. Earlier we were believing that everything is matter, but then when quantum physics came, then things got changed. The complete paradigm got shifted, and understanding emerged that actually everything is energy. So this video is all about how matter is also having intelligence. Every matter is having intelligence, and it is energy. So I will play this video. Request everyone to kindly watch this attentively.
Quantum physics says it's all just waves of information. Do I believe that? I hope so. Yikes! And here we are, the granddaddy of all quantum weirdness, the infamous double-slit experiment. To understand this experiment, we first need to see how particles, or little balls of matter, act. If we randomly shoot a small object, say a marble, at the screen, we see a pattern on the back wall where they went through the slit and hit. Now, if we add a second slit, we would expect to see a second band duplicated to the right. Now, let's look at waves. The waves hit the slit and radiate out, striking the back wall with the most intensity directly in line with the slit. The line of brightness on the back screen shows that intensity. This is similar to the line the marbles make. But when we add the second slit, something different happens. If the top of one wave meets the bottom of another wave, they cancel each other out. So now there is an interference pattern on the back wall. Places where the two tops meet are the highest intensity, the bright lines, and where they cancel, there is nothing. So, when we throw things, that is, matter, through two slits, we get this, two bands of hits. And with waves, we get an interference pattern of many bands. Good so far. Now, let's go quantum. An electron is a tiny, tiny bit of matter, like a tiny marble. Let's fire a stream through one slit. It behaves just like a marble, a single band. So, if we shoot these tiny bits through two slits, we should get, like the marbles, two bands. What? An interference pattern. We fired electrons, tiny bits of matter through. We get a pattern like waves, not like little marbles. How? How could pieces of matter create an interference pattern like a wave? It doesn't make sense. But physicists are clever. They thought maybe those little balls are bouncing off each other and creating that pattern. So they decide to shoot electrons through one at a time. There is no way they can interfere with each other. But after an hour of this, the same interference pattern is seen to emerge. The conclusion is inescapable. The single electron leaves as a particle, becomes a wave of potentials, goes through both slits, and interferes with itself to hit the wall like a particle. But mathematically, it's even stranger. It goes through both slits and it goes through neither. And it goes through just one and it goes through just the other. All of these possibilities are in superposition with each other. Physicists were completely baffled by this. So they decided to peek and see which slit it actually goes through. They put a measuring device by one slit to see which one it went through and let it fly. But the quantum world is far more mysterious than they could have imagined. When they observed, the electron went back to behaving like a little marble. It produced a pattern of two bands, not an interference pattern of many. The very act of measuring or observing which slit it went through meant it only went through one, not both. The electron decided to act different, as though it was aware it was being watched. It was here that physicists stepped forever into the strange, never world of quantum events. What is matter? Marbles or waves? And waves of what? And what does an observer have to do with any of this? The observer collapsed the wave function simply by observing. Marble. Let's fire a stream through one slit. It behaves just like the marble, a single band. So, if we shoot these tiny bits through two slits, we should get, like the marbles, two bands. What? An interference pattern. We fired electrons, tiny bits of matter through. But we get a pattern like waves, not like little marbles. How? How could pieces of matter create something like a little marble? It produced a pattern of two bands, not an interference pattern of many. The very act of pleasure.
So here you'd have observed that when the matter particle is thrown through one slit, it is showing particle nature. And when the same particle is thrown through two slits, so it is making two lines. Particle nature, that is particle nature. But when the wave is passed through one slit, then it's one straight line. And when the waves, the water is passed through two slits, then it makes a interference pattern on the wall. So that is how we understand the particle nature and wave nature. Wave nature means when wave is passed through two slits, so it will have interference pattern on the wall. Now, this was the foundational understanding. So they wanted to understand the nature of electron, whether how electron behaves, whether like particle or like waves. So then they started throwing from one slit, so it was behaving like particle, having one slit, one line. But when that same electron, it was passed through two slits, it had interference pattern on the behind back wall. So they couldn't understand that how the matter, if we considered it as a particle, it should have been the pattern like a particle, means two lines only. But now it is having so many interference pattern on the back wall. Like it is behaving like waves. So electron, whether it is particle or wave. Chalo, theek hai. So here you can conclude electron has both particle and wave nature. But when electron is passed, when this discovery is being done, when this research is being done under the observer, when the observer is put, and provided the condition is that observer is not creating any kind of electromagnetic effect. So the double slit experiment is not giving any interference pattern. So this was baffling for physicists, baffling situation. Why it happened in the case of observer or no observer? Observer is not doing anything, just observer, and that too you have one, man-made created observer which is not having any kind of electromagnetic effect on the whole experiment. But this electron, it is not showing interference pattern through double slit experiment. So what is all going on? This physicist could not understand, could not fathom. So see, first thing that they came to the understanding, okay, chalo theek, electron or waves or photons, they have dual nature, particle nature and waves nature. So then they said it is energy finally. Now they are not able to say whether it is energy or particle, because under the observer it is behaving something like else. How to understand this? So therefore Prabhupada says these 8 elements which we understood, these 8 elements, earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, ego, these 8 elements are there in every atom. Every atom is made up of all these 8 basic ingredients. So even electron is having mind, intelligence and ego. Otherwise, how come this electron behaving differently under the observer or no observer? That means electron is having intelligence, and Krishna says, Andantarastha Paramanu Chayantarastam, every atom I am situated. So Paramatma is there. So therefore every atom is having intelligence, mind. And that's what here Krishna says in 7th chapter. So this is how we should understand that whatever Krishna has said is perfectly completely truth. We are defective. We are not able to come to that understanding through inductive process of approach. Anyway, so we have discussed that electron or means atom, every atom is having this energy, every atom is energy, not the matter. So as Krishna says here in this Bhagavad Gita, everything is energy, separated energy of Krishna. Then Krishna started explaining that I am supreme and everything is coming from me. Ability and fragrance, intelligence, strength, sex life which is not contrary to religious principle. Everything is Krishna. You see, taste in water. Om. Krishna is also Om. Sometimes people misunderstand that Om is something else. Krishna says in 7th chapter, I'm Om. This Om is my impersonal manifestation. So with this, we understand that actually all these abilities, beauty, intelligence, everything is coming from Krishna. So the question, if somebody asks that, generally many people, they want to show their talent, skill, and if you say though that no, these things, we should be always grounded and humble. We should not be proud of all these things. So then they say that why should I not be proud upon? Because these are my talents, these are my skills, and I should be proud of all these things. But according to Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying these are not your asset. This is given by Krishna, and you should not be proud of your wealth, your position, your beauty, your intelligence. Nothing. It is all borrowed things. So here also I will share one video so that it becomes very clear for us that how everything is actually not us. Nothing is ours. So here you see Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali, one time he was champion, but another time he was not able to lift even a glass of water because of having Parkinson disease. One time he was claiming himself as the greatest, but another time this same Muhammad Ali, who was champion one time, but another time he's not able to lift the glass of water. So that means what? He is not the owner of the strength, power. So we'll watch this video. This video is all about his experience. What does he say?
Owning real estate, going in business, teaching boxers, that won't get me to heaven. God is watching me. God don't praise me because I beat Joe Frazier. God don't care nothing about England or America as far as your wealth is all his. He wants to know, how do we treat each other? How do we help each other? So I'm gonna dedicate my life to using my name and popularity, helping charities, helping people, uniting people, bring people bumming each other because of religious beliefs. We need somebody in the world to help us make peace. So when I die, if there's a heaven, I want to see it. Because we live how long? 80 years? The odds are everybody in this room, some of you are going to be dead 20 years from now. Some of you are going to be dead 50 years from now. Some are going to be dead 30, and some are going to be dead 60, 70 years from now. We all going to die soon. So this is a test to see where will we spend our life in heaven or hell. This is not the life now. Your real self is inside you. Your body gets old. Some of you go to look at the fridge, you don't have no teeth. Your hair is leaving you. Your bodies get tired. But your soul and your spirit never die. That's going to live forever. So your body is just housing your soul and spirit. So God is testing us on how we treat each other, how we live, to see where our real home be in heaven. So this physical stuff don't last for so long. So my car, this building is going to be here when the man who built it dead. There have been many kings and queens of England. They're all dead. After this one is gone, another one will come. So we don't stay here. We're just trustees. We don't own nothing. Even your children are not yours. If you think I'm lying, your wife is not yours. You don't own your children. You don't own your family. So what am I saying? The most important thing about life is what's going to happen when you die. Are you going to go to heaven or hell? And that's eternity. How long is eternity? So what am I going to do when I'm through fighting? I only have 16 years to be productive, get myself ready to meet God and go to the best place. Does that make sense? Thank you.
Very nicely experienced was shared by Muhammad Ali. So now how many years are there to be productive for all of us? We don't know. So better we utilize all these years in the service of Krishna and go back to Krishna. Then Krishna in the 7th chapter started explaining about demigod worships. So Krishna says that before that, 4 kinds of miscreants who don't come to Krishna, and 4 kinds of people who come to Krishna. So we understand very nicely all these things. And then demigod worships. Krishna condemned that we should not worship demigods, because even if from your childhood you are accustomed to worship demigods, but when we read Bhagavad Gita, we should come to the understanding that demigod worship is not the best worship, and human life is meant to find the best thing. Who is best God? That is Krishna. And demigod worship and best worship is Krishna worship. Even Lord Shiva says, Aradhananam sarvesam Vishnur aradhanam param. The best worship among all the worships is Krishna. So we should not waste our time in worshipping so many other demigods. Rather, we should come to the point of worshipping Krishna and achieve the permanent result. The problem in demigod worship is that we get temporary results which are not permanent, which will go along with this body. So therefore, we should not approach demigods for material things. Even material things, if you want, you approach Krishna, and Krishna will give you. Don't worry. Just like Dhruva, what Dhruva got material desires, like that we'll also get. So we should not worship demigods and worship Krishna. Now, having said that, we should not deride or condemn demigods. They are also devotee of Krishna. Then the very important understanding we had that Krishna is having a form. Krishna was not impersonal. Krishna is eternally a person. When he comes on the Janmashtami day, that time he is a person, and when he winds up his pastime, goes back to his abode, that time also he is a person. Not that in the spiritual world he is energy, here only he is a person. So if somebody understands that he was a Nirakar, then he is not intelligent. He is fool number one. And then Krishna said that I know everything, past, present, future. So better you give the control of your life, control of your everything in my hand, because I know everything. You don't know anything. So we should completely dependent on the Lord. Oh Lord, whatever you wish for me, which is better, you please sanction, bestow for me. Otherwise, because you know past, present, future, I don't know what is going to happen in my future. So if suppose you pray something which is not going to be good for you, so and you get that you prayed for something, and maybe possibility is there, after getting that your life will become more miserable, but you are thinking that if I get that my life will be successful, because you don't know future, no? So therefore we should not pray. We should always pray from Krishna that Krishna, whatever you desire for me is the best, please bestow me that, because you know past, present, and future. Then Krishna explained that we have fallen here in this material world because we developed a desire to enjoy independent of Krishna. Therefore, we came here in this material world. So now in this material world, we are suffering because of sinful activities. We have committed so much of sins. So by performing devotional service, we should wipe out all the sinful reactions, sinful activities, and clear all the sins, become purified completely, and become free from dualities. And when you are purified, then you can engage yourself in the devotional service to Krishna, just like this devotee you are seeing. All the foreigners, they are so excitingly, enthusiastically, with great determination, they are doing sankirtan, they are doing seva to Krishna. So we should also come to the point of serving Krishna with great determination, having purified from all the contamination in our heart, and finally go back to Krishna. So this is all about 7th chapter, and that's all here in this 7th chapter. So this is absolute truth. Absolute truth is Krishna, and all the demigods are related to Krishna. They are delegated administrators. They are delegated with powers to run the material affairs. That is the position of demigods. And Krishna is not impersonal. Krishna is person, and Krishna knows everything. And everything is coming from Krishna. So these are all described in 7th chapter. Now tomorrow onwards we'll discuss 8th chapter.